lithium batteries. And what happens to them in 10 years' time? For instance, electric cars, EV vehicles, you know, the ones that we've been told to transition to, even though there's no infrastructure to put the power in to those batteries. They eat huge amounts of power per charge. So you can get to and from work. But they have a lifespan. They do. Now we know that our mobile phones, you know, these smartphone things that have lithium-ion batteries, well, they've come a long way. Now, in the phone's early development, well, you could change the battery. Now you have to send the phone off to be taken apart to have a new battery fitted. Because these batteries, these new lithium batteries, have a very long life cycle. Like I say, as much as 10 years for EV cars. So there's no more, well, just chucking them away and discarding these things. No. But what if you had to? Because we know that after 10 years, at the very least, the capacity of that battery for your EV car will be reduced, reducing your range. It's a big issue. Never mind the fact that, like for instance in the United Kingdom, it does not have enough electricity. No, it doesn't have the infrastructure. These batteries consume huge amounts of energy just to charge them up overnight, or for however long they take. Now, there is new technology that speeds up the charging process, but still, it's still power that has to go into the battery, which means there's even more draw all at the same time when you get home from work and you want to plug your EV car in. The national grid will be gasping at well. People's lights will be flickering. That's a likely scenario. So what happens to these batteries, or what could happen to these batteries? I don't know. Maybe you know. But I found an article in the Review Geek, because I'm a bit of a geek. I have to be honest. So what am I on about? I'm on about, well, let's have a look, shall we? I think we should. Well, this is the article in the Review Geek. Now, it was posted on April the 22nd, 2022. Don't worry, it's not too long. No. So, in case you haven't noticed, cars everywhere are pretty much going electric. It's the future, so they tell us. What's wrong with hydrogen? I wonder. Now, as more electric vehicles hit the road over the next decade or so, what happens to all those used batteries? I know they're not double A's, no. Could be a big problem. In fact, it could be a huge one soon. There's roughly 10 million battery-powered vehicles rolling around already today. But most of them are young and they're not witnessing the issues regarding the batteries. The fact their car could be worthless if the batteries could put... Not economical to repair, you could say. Is that good for the environment? No, it's not. Now, some agencies, they predict the number will grow to as many as 200 million electric cars by the decade's end. Considering that EV battery recycling will be a massive task in years ahead, it just won't be worth it. Many of these batteries are getting a bit tired, I suppose. I suppose some will go into people's homes who want to be off-grid, be charged by their solar cells or their wind turbines, maybe hydropower even. But what happens to the old EV batteries? These big cells they are. Well, the first commercial lithium-ion battery was first released in 1991, like I said. And since then, the technology has, well, it's improved leaps and bounds. Can't be denied, no. The days of your battery getting warm and expanding and blowing up on you, well, it's very much less likely to happen. Now, saying that, lithium-ion batteries remain a substantial environmental hazard. and they have a relatively short life cycle. Furthermore, the recycling process is complex, dangerous, and time-consuming. So your typical EV battery can easily last more than 10 years. Which is fantastic. It's no NICAD, no. And many modern EVs come with an 8-year battery warranty. And that's in the United States, though. That means Tesla, Ford, and others, they guarantee the battery for at least 8 years. Or 100,000 miles. Now, most EVs on the road aren't that old yet, so we don't really know what the outcome is. But they will be soon. As a result, we're not entirely sure what the manufacturers plan on doing with the increase of dangerous toxic EV battery material. Now, how old EV batteries are recycled, or how are they stored while we figure out the best path forward? Are they safe? Oh, some EV batteries, but some batteries, lithium-ion batteries, have spontaneously combusted. They have. Oh, that's why you have to put them in those little silver bags when you go on the aeroplane, just in case you blow the plane up. Well, some they leak toxic chemicals into the ground. No one's really sure if they do or they don't. The Tesla, the most popular EV manufacturer, you know, Elon Musk's electric car, who also now has just bought Twitter for $40-odd billion. It's just unfathomable amount of money. But he claimed that EV manufacturers, as of late, they claim that they can be recycled and reuse up to 92% of the old EV battery. Obviously, this all takes energy to do so. So that is another environmental hazard. Now, the company has an EV sustainability and recycling support page. And that suggests none of our scrapped lithium-ion batteries go to landfilling, and 100% are recycled. That's promising, and it suggests that Tesla recycles and reuses everything. Well, that sounds too good to be true. The Tesla is just one of many manufacturers which will face a vast battle later down the road, that they will. Because, again, lithium-ion batteries, like other electronics, are toxic. You can't get away from it. And the process is difficult. Now, we haven't managed it, clear yet. We haven't, if we haven't made it clear yet, handling, storing, and eventually recycling EV batteries will be a huge undertaking of these huge batteries. Everywhere are talking about how EVs are good for the environment and cleaner than gas, but what about the massive battery packs powering everything? According to the site, Tree Hugger, give it a visit. And I'll put links down below in the description so you can read it for yourself if you like. Well, battery recycling is performed one pack at a time. Now, auto manufacturers use powerful glue to keep everything safely together, which must be broken down. As a result, the battery cells get shredded, heated up to a point they burn, dissolve into a pool of acid and more at special facilities. It's a nasty job that releases carbon emissions, but that's another topic entirely. The other problem is that lithium-ion and nickel aren't even the most profitable part to recycle and reuse. That's actually the cobalt. An expensive material that's in short supply, for which China has, it has its fingers in those pies for about 100 years. Now, Tesla recently confirmed that half of its vehicles are now cobalt-free, like many lithium-ion batteries. and others are trying to do the same. For now, battery manufacturers are busy trying to figure out ways to cut certain chemicals out of the battery cells or find the best way to recycle and reuse as much as possible. But what's happening now? Not a lot. No. They just want to sell their EV cars to make money. Now, considering most EVs on the roads are still young, that they are, the batteries inside don't need to be recycled yet. No. But as we inch closer to that reality, manufacturers and companies everywhere are trying to figure out a solution. Probably one where they can make some more money. That's what they like. For example, Ford teamed up with a recycling company known as Redwood Materials, founded by Tesla's ex-CTO J.B. Straubel. An automaker. Well, recently invested $50 million in Redwood Materials and will give them a place to send old batteries while trying to, well, be as sustainable as possible. You can't get away from it, but this is a serious issue. What is going to happen to these batteries? Like I said, many may end up in people's homes for self-sustainability. Or maybe they'll end up in third world countries where they have remote situations where they power, they don't have, they're not connected to the grid. That's what I'm trying to say. Probably. But there's going to be too many of these batteries that are no longer economical to repair. Well, you can't repair them anyway. That makes the car itself unviable. Are you going to be paying 10 grand plus for a new battery for your EV car that happens to be 10 years old? I doubt it. It won't be worth it. Unless some cheaper, options come available. Probably from China. In the depths of eBay. Maybe. No? An Altera. Maybe AliExpress even. I don't know. Maybe you tell me. Please leave in the comments down below, because I always read the comments, but you probably already know. Oh dear. Well, leave most kind, click like and subscribe. And maybe that little bell icon. Because then you get a warm fuzzy feeling in your pocket every time I upload another video. And I hope you'd be excited about that. Blimey. It's a major issue. Like I say, leave in the comments down below. Ta-ta.